Can I get a woo woo? Welcome to the Woo Woo and You podcast. I am your host, B. Marie, and here we are going to discuss all things manifestation, human design, spirituality, universal laws, and of course, more. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, Megan and I dive into what it means to be a projector in human design. We explore what waiting for the invitation looks like in our lives, the importance of rest, and how understanding our unique channels has helped us recognize our gifts. Just know we are not experts. We're just two projectors learning to work with this tool in a way that supports our energy and enhances our lives. And human design is meant to be just that, a tool, a guide. So take what resonates and leave the rest. A few side notes. You may hear or see my dog because that's just my life. At one point, I refer to the ego center, which is also called the heart center in human design. Both terms are used interchangeably, so just know I'm talking about the same center. Towards the end of the episode, I'll share some journal prompts that help you reflect on what success might look like for you as a projector. And whether you're a fellow projector, you're just curious about this type, or you're beginning your human design journey, this is a relaxed and fun conversation. If you're not sure of what your type is yet, there are plenty of free websites where you can find that out. All you need is your birth date, your birth time, and your location. I hope you enjoy our discussion. Welcome to the Woo Woo and You podcast. Today, I have Megan Pingle back to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is human design. Hello.
Yay! Hi, I'm so excited to be here. This one's a great subject.
Yes, me too, because human design, we both learned that we are projectors.
That's right. We
Yes.
are.
So today, that is what we're talking about. We're not going to get too detailed because neither of us are experts at human design at all. Like, we're not. We are just somebody who, found out what our human design basically is and basically tried to start living as projectors. So, I just want to ask you, where did you first learn about human design? Because apparently this is like human design has been a concept since I believe the 80s.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I had no clue.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like you, I had never heard of human design. Um, and I had taken a course. Catherine Zampina has a manifestation course, which you and I took together. And that during that amazing program, one of the weeks and lessons was about human design. And it took me a minute to kind of wrap my head around it because I didn't quite understand it. And I'm logical, so I wanted to understand like how it worked. But that was where I kind of first was introduced to human design. And then we took a course. She had kind of a crash course on it. And then after that, I kind of explored other areas that gave more information around human design. So that was kind of my first like toe dipping into human design in general. What about you?
Yeah, same here. So I also took the course, the manifestation course, and that's where I first learned about it. And I was so fascinated. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like, me, I love to explore different avenues. So of course I went in and tried to learn more about it as well. And just kind of Googled some things and I wanted to know what my design was. So I looked up my design and if it turned out I was a projector.
Right. Okay.
And I will actually show you. So this is actually what you get when you like look up your human design. So for the listeners that are not looking at, it's called a body graph. And you're gonna see like this person and it has all these energy centers and lines. And I just looked at this and I said, what is this? I don't understand it. And the fact that I had everything empty, as you can see, except for two energy centers, I cried. I was like, oh my God, this is what's wrong with me. I was like, no wonder this is my issue. I have nothing defined. and I cried.
No.
I was so heartbroken, and I cried, and I was just like, "Yep, that's the issue." Um, so yeah, that's how I found out human design, and I was reading about the other types because there's five types, if I'm not mistaken. You have projector, manifester, generator, mani-gen, and reflector. So those are the five. So I was reading about like I think generator and manifester, and I was like, why can't I be one of them? They have everything, and they're just like, yeah. I was very heartbroken to say the least. Were you heartbroken at all, or you were just like, oh, okay, that's cool?
Mine, yeah, it's funny. So when I first tried to find my human design, which by the way, for all of you listeners who don't understand how to get a a reading or to put your information in, how you do it is you plug in your birthday, the time you were born, and where you were born. And at the time, I didn't really know that information, which in the course, Catherine kind of talks about if that's something that's not available to you, that you can use other tools to kind of help you narrow down the time. Um, so I at first thought that I was a manifester because I didn't know any of my information. So I plug in what I thought I was, and I thought, the time I was born and where I was born, and it projects out that I was a manifester. And I resonated so hard with it. I was like, yes, that's me. Yes, yes. And then I get on the phone with my mom and she's like, no, you were born at 7:35 p.m., not a.m. So that completely changed my chart. Like it was like complete opposite of what I had already researched. So it took me a minute to actually resonate with the information I got. And I will say this, when I first looked at my human design at the place I was in life, I read it and it was interesting, but it didn't really, nothing was super, like, nothing really stood out to me as information that I could use at that time. After I would say a year and a half, the where I'm at now, I reread my design and I resonate so much with what's being presented now as the information. So my advice to people who put in for their design, go with what resonates with you. And they say, take what you want, leave the rest. If you don't always resonate with what's being presented to you, that's you. That's your intuition telling you yes and no. And over time, I think as life progresses for you, sometimes it does line up. So don't always knock everything in human design if you don't immediately resonate with it. That's what I have to say on that.
Right. So what parts for you resonated with being a projector versus thinking you were a manifester?
Yes. So what's funny is so a projector, well, part of my design too was a projector is someone who waits for an invitation. And this is for your gifts. You wait for an invitation to give your gifts to the world. And I, at first, did not agree with that. Like when I want something, I go for it. I take charge. I get what I want, and I decide when I want and when I want to portray my gifts and when I don't. And I don't want to sit around and wait for something. And so at first, that didn't resonate. But as I started looking at my life, I realized that I got invitations all the time. And that's when I was so successful in life in general, right?
Right.
And actually, what made me come alive was when I did get an invitation to something, and I would go for it and blast my unique gift at this thing or person, and that's when I felt the most alive. So to me, that fully resonated. Knowing that I received gifts and just paying attention to those. And I think another thing in my chart was that I was told I was an empath, and I always wondered if I was, but I've never really resonated with some of the descriptions of what an empath was. But after going through my chart and kind of seeing how it lined up, that also resonated with me too. So there was quite a few things in there that I felt were spot on.
Yeah, and for like the waiting for the invitation, when I first read that, I didn't understand that. I was like, what do you mean? Because I was like you. If I want something, I go and do it and I go and get it, right? Like I was like, what do you mean wait for the invitation? And then later, as I kept researching, I understood that um so for me, I'm the type of person who loves to give advice, whether you want to hear it or not, right? So in projector world, that is like a no-no. That's where you wait for the invitation because since I love to like because as a projector, you're like a guide, right? You can help people see where they could improve. So of course, I'm always like, hey, if you do this or that or whatever, right? And people would just like reject me all the time, and I'd be like, what the hell? Like I'm trying to
Mhm.
help you. So for me, that part when I finally understood, wait for the invitation to like give advice to people instead of just going, hey, you, I know how I can help you improve. Here's some advice. And then they reject me, and I'm just like so sour and like, what the hell, right?
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. Okay, I 100% agree with that because as a projector, you see things that can be fixable, and it's
All the time.
logical all the time. And yes, I would realize, like, I would give all of this energy, I would pour my energy into something, and it was not received well. And I remember thinking, if you would just listen to me, everything would be better
All
for
the
you.
time. That must be like the projectors thing. If you would just listen.
Yes.
That's like our motto. If you would just listen to
If you would
me,
just,
your life would be 1,000 times better.
but it brought frustration and bitterness because I would expel so much energy towards something that was never received. And I realized as a projector as well, we have a limited amount of energy that we push out, and giving it away to someone that's not receiving it is wasting it. And then you're out of your energy until you rest and recuperate your energy. So that was a huge lesson for me, realizing that my energy was sacred and knowing when to give it to someone based on an invitation rather than projecting it on someone that doesn't really want it.
Yeah. Which I would say I used to do a lot. Like, and
Same.
I still sometimes will catch myself doing it. I'm like, okay, I need to shut up. I need to shut up and not do this and just wait for them to be like open to receiving what I have to say. Absolutely.
Yes.
And I also want to talk, you mentioned resting. Oh my gosh. So, resting for me is a big thing. Out of all of my friends, I was the one who wanted to sleep the most.
Oh,
I love sleep. I love sleep. I could take naps during the day, no problem. But I used to feel so guilty and be like, why do I always want to take a nap? Like, why do I always just want to like chill out and go to sleep? And I would feel so bad and so guilty. But then learning that projector, like how their energy, um, I guess their energy is sucked up the more people you're around and the more things that you're doing that we're not here to do. We're here to guide. And I was the doer. I've always been just doing, doing, doing. So the rest, when I finally was like, I resonated so hard with that. I was like, oh, yes, I can take naps with guilt free. Like, yes, I can rest and recharge guilt free. Absolutely. Thank you. I will take it.
yes. Actually, what's funny is, like, as a younger version of myself, I always took naps and would feel guilty that I needed the naps. And then as I got older, I don't have time for naps. And as a mother, you definitely don't have time for naps. So knowing that that was part of my design was so helpful because now I realize that I get more energy by giving in to the design than just not paying
Resisting
attention
it,
to it at all. Yes, yes,
and
exactly.
going and going until you're burnt out, and then you need like
Yes,
5 days of rest versus like just maybe half a day.
yes. And I know we'll probably go into this, but one of my channels in my design is creative outlet. And I'm part of my design is that I can create something beautiful. And I will notice when I am in art mode or creative mode, I can blast the energy out, creating something, but I can literally run myself into the ground as I'm like creating. And I can tell when my body and energy is done. And I need that rest to recoup so that I can do it again later. But if I continue to go and ignore the signs, then everything starts falling out of place. So that's another thing that's helped me in my creative outlets to take that rest because it's so important. It will help me in the long run be more creative and create things that are more beautiful because I'm living by my design.
Right. Absolutely. So do you have your chart with you? Because I'm just
I do.
interested to see, like, what do we have in common?
Right. So, okay, both of us are projectors, which we found out after. We had no idea that we were projectors together. So, when we took our course, you could go online, anyone could go online on myhumandesign.com or Google human design. And there's a lot of free websites that have the ability to plug in your information and you'll get a little bit of information. To get the full Monty, a lot of them are paid for modalities. But this one, if you can see it, is My Human Design. And as you can see, I have 3 energy centers that are lit up and the
Yeah.
rest are blank. So unlike yours, you have less lit up than mine. But as you go through your design, they will tell you which ones are highlighted, which ones are lit up, and what they mean, which was so helpful to me.
Yeah, mine that are lit up is actually the ego is one of them, and I believe the spleen. I think that other one over there is the spleen.
Okay,
So
dang.
let's see. Because I just wanted to read um where it is. Yeah. So ego, defined ego. Um, is basically saying you were designed to be a natural achiever and tuned into your desires. And I've always been like a goal-oriented person, I would say. And just go after whatever I wanted. So I really resonated with that for sure. And then the other one, so everything is open, 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 open. Open sacral, define spleen. So you were designed to have a strong, reliable intuition, which the more that I am diving into my intuition, the more I am realizing that yes, I am resonating with this. Um, so it says like in your wisdom, you are intuitive, and in your shadow, you are cerebral and disconnected. So a lot of times I have I ignored my intuition. Um,
Yes,
How about you? You ever ignored your
yes,
intuition and wish you didn't?
yes. Actually, knowing my human design has helped me open myself up more to my intuition because that's one of my gifts. So I will say when you plug in your human design, you will get specific information about yourself that's kind of an overall version of your design. And then if you pay for, a more in-depth overview, they deep dive into more of the channels and some of the things that are in your graph. But one of them is intuition, a projector for the most part. So there's a lot of generic things that projectors have in common. But as you deep dive into your design, you'll realize that there's a lot of unique things about you that are specific to you, kind of like a fingerprint, right?
Yes.
So for me, intuition was also on my chart, and I think the majority of projectors have a lot of or have a very strong intuition. Making decisions based on their intuition is their like the highest gift they have. So that was kind of neat to learn that I had that. So it made me pay attention to it more, for sure.
Oh yeah. Yep. I'm starting to learn to, I guess, trust in my intuition more instead of ignoring it. And I'm also trying to be more aware of oh gosh, how that happens. Hello, Mojo. Hi. Um, so
So I will say, when I got my design for the first time, the free version kind of gives you some information, like you get the type that you are, which for us is a projector. You can deep dive and learn more about what that means in general. And then you get more information about like when you are in alignment with your true purpose, this is how you will feel. If you're not in alignment, this is how you'll feel, um, how you make decisions, the type of environment that you're around, and the friends that you have, if they feel in alignment or not, or how you strategize, your day to day life, which for us is getting invitations. And then just how you make your decisions in life too is also kind of part of your design. So for me, this was huge. I didn't realize it had that much information to read about myself. And I think the first part of getting your design is realizing what you have been doing and what you haven't been doing. And like you were talking about intuition, it made me realize that I wasn't using it, but it's one of my gifts. So I need to try to use it. So it's just awareness, I think, was a huge part for me in human design.
and I think most people are um taught or raised to be more like um is it the manifestors or the generators that go go go, like they have like this abundance of energy and they just go all the time. uh,
Yes.
and I think most of society is kind of like that, where they're not honoring, rest. It's like, work 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 work, go to sleep, and then work 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 some more. And like for me,
Yes.
I've never loved a full-time job, never. I've always wanted to like work part-time and then like sleep 40, like I wanted it reverse, sleep 40 hours and then have off, or go to work.
Which makes sense
Yeah.
because it's part of your design, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah, for
especially when you're doing something you don't fully enjoy doing, like I have to do this, like I have to be there at this time, right? So,
mhm.
I think most of society, unfortunately, is just go, go, go and burning themselves out, and whether they're projectors or not. I mean, everybody needs rest.
Yes. And I was one of those people that was enthusiastic about going. I thought I had endless energy and I would wonder like why I would have burnout. I would wonder why I was having crash downs. I would go and I would give myself so much during the day and I would come home and crash and wonder why I was so exhausted. And it would take me days to recoup. So
Yep.
it's nice to know how you're designed. And you compare yourself to other people, which I
Yeah.
you brought up. Um, I think it's a generator who has endless energy. And when I compare myself to some of my friends who can go, go, go and never stop and don't need that much rest that I do, it's like, well, there's something wrong with me. So why do I need more rest than my friend? So
Yep.
it was it's
And
just I
I would do that with my mom because my mom is this type of person who cannot take a nap during the day, and she's always got to be doing something. She's very fidgety, and I looked up her chart, um, and I wasn't quite sure on the time, so I guesstimated. But what I came up with was she was, I believe it was a Manny Gen,
mm,
and I was like, oh, well, that explains your goness. All
yes.
the time.
And that's another fun thing to do when you're researching human design is looking up your family and friends.
Oh yes.
Um, because I did that with my husband too, and he's a manifesting generator, and it makes so much sense now. So it's fun to do that too. So I get that.
Uh-huh. Do you know so there's profiles in human design, like the 1, 1, 3, 2, 4, like all of those numbers. Do you know what you are with that?
So the one I've done, I did myhumandesign.com, which was a free version. And then it did give me some information, maybe not quite that in depth. And then I signed up for another um, person who was an expert on human design, Erin Claire Jones, and she gave a full 62-page informational document that the deep dive into my human design. But hers was more on just the basics, the centers, and the channels. And she kind of explained things
I
that way.
I actually got the same one, and I think she does put it in there. It's just that she didn't label it because when I was reading it, I know I'm a 1-3. So a 1-3
Okay.
profile is the one is like the investigator, like you like to research. Um so
Oh,
and then the 3 is basically you're living by trial and error, which I have always done too. So I definitely
neat.
resonated with that.
So, okay, so I'm looking at mine. She
Yeah.
did. She put it in there. Profile 2-4.
You're a 2
Um,
4. Okay. So I have my book here. So the 2 is classified as the hermit. Um, Solitude, innocence, awaiting the call, nerding out, natural gifts, magnetism, harmony, sacred space, solitude. Like all of that is for the hermit. Um, so it says people with the hermit profile need ample alone time to be immersed in their interest and natural talents. Does that resonate?
yes, it does.
Okay. Okay, and then I don't think you want me to read the whole paragraph, the whole page.
No,
There's plenty of information. And then you said 4 was your second line? Two,
yes.
four, 2, 4. Okay, so 4 is the opportunist, acceptance, friendship, investment, networks, community, opportunity, connection. If you have a 4 profile, relationships are your currency. You're a natural connector of people and thrive by pouring energy into your social network.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I love being social, but then I also need the hermit time. Like absolutely. Like I absolutely have to unplug and be away. So all of that resonates. And you find it's funny, like, because people define themselves as being an extrovert, introvert. Human design throws all of that out the window and tells you, listen, you're both.
Yeah.
And here's why.
Here's why. And I heard too that your body graph, so this is the way you were supposed to be like designed, and that's if you're living up to your like your highest self, like the highest best version of you. That's what I've heard. I can't remember who said that in the human design world, but someone said that, and I was like, that makes total sense because I don't like before I knew human design, I was not living like this. I was living
Oh,
opposite of this. So if I'm fully in my human design, living like I'm supposed to, all of these channels and gates and everything will come alive.
oh, neat. Okay.
Yeah. And so, channels, do you want to talk about any of your channels? I only have one, and that's the channels because the channels, from what I understand, is when it's fully connected. So I have the 44 and the 26 fully connected, and that's the only one.
See if I can show mine. Okay, so this is mine.
Looks like you might have two.
Yeah, I think I do have two.
Yeah.
Um, and I think so based on um Erin Claire Jones, when I by the way, Erin Claire Jones does a reading for I think it's under $100, but it's a little pricey if you are that curious about your design and want to deep dive even further into it. And I believe you're referencing a book. Did you
So this is also Erin Claire Jones.
okay.
But I have a book as well. A
Okay.
modern guide to human design. So you can definitely like just buy a book. I got this off of Amazon. I don't remember how much I paid, 20 something maybe for it. Um,
That's
but
not
but if you get like your free chart, like you can get your chart anywhere, and then if you want to like deep dive on your own without someone like telling you, you can just get a great book like this and deep dive into it because it gives you all the channels, it gives you the profiles, the like the auras for the different um like projector, reflector, like all of that. So it's really, really good. If you want to start somewhere a little bit cheaper, for example, if you don't want to pay, because I can't remember. I bought my reading back in 2023.
Okay. Similar. Yeah, I think it was 2024.
I just printed this out today, actually, and that's what it said. Yeah, November of 2023 is when I got this.
Okay. Um, yeah, so there's several ways you can get your human design at a more affordable price.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of information for free online as well. And then once you start deep diving into it, you'll realize you want to learn more, which is
Oh yeah.
nice.
This is such an awesome tool. Like I love it. It's like I believe let's see. It tells me I think in the front of the book where human does like it incorporates everything like astrology, the Chinese I Ching, the chakras, so that's like the energy centers that we're talking about, the the tree of life. So it incorporates everything. And you can even see like here's like a detailed, yeah.
So do you, before I go into our channels, do you know, based on human design, does it incorporate all of that into its reading? So
Yes.
it's an incorporation of lots of cultures
Yes. Yes. Because I was trying to see. So it uses the 360-degree astrological wheel and the 12 signs of the Western zodiac to calculate the energies at play when you were born. So, and then, like I said, the I Ching, the chakra system, and the tree of life.
wow, okay, I didn't realize it was that invasive.
Yes.
Um,
So it incorporates a lot. And like it's just it's a lot of information, but just like I would suggest starting small. First, just learn what you are and just like if you're a projector, a reflector, a mani-gen, a generator, or a manifester, and then go from there. Like you don't have to know all the details. Like even if you just learn that you're, for example, a projector and that rest is good for you and you are a guide, not a doer, right? And all those things, and that you're supposed to wait for the invitation. And if you're out of alignment, you will feel like bitterness or frustration. Like it gives you all of that.
mhm. Okay. So according to my design, my channels are, and if this makes sense, beauty and marketing. And I'm not sure if that makes sense in your book, but when explained, my gifts and channels are beauty as it entails, I guess, creating beautiful things around me. So my strong suit, I guess, would be embodying beauty around me at all times, creating beauty in the world around you, designing, and it kind of mentions that people that have this gift generally tend to become designers in some form or fashion, or they have a very large creative outlet. So I'm artistic for sure. I've always been artistic. I never went into a profession of design, but design has always been part of my life in all of my, like, every type of work environment I've been in. I end up being in design somewhere in that work environment. So,
Well, that makes sense.
that resonated. Yeah, that resonated with me. And I wondered, why I was like that. So that's fun to know. And then I guess marketing was my second one. And like you mentioned before, socialization, being able to connect with people, that is one of my gifts. So I think all of that resonates with me. What about you?
Well, before that, I wanted to read my
Okay.
book. So what numbers are we looking at?
Hmm. 57 and 10.
57 and 10. Okay, so 50. 7 and 10. So let's see what it says. Just interested to see. Okay, 57 and 10. So, um, so separately, 57 is the gate of intuitive insight. You receive a lot of information from about the world through your right ear.
Okay.
Interesting. Leaning into your instincts is healthy for you. You may find yourself afraid of the future and the unknown.
Mhm.
You are designed to have selective hearing. It's okay to filter out some things. By staying rooted in your in the moment intuition, you can trust that you'll always know what to do. So
Okay.
that's gate 57 by itself. Now, gate 10 by itself is the gate of behavior of the self. So you're here to cultivate self-love and acceptance. It's important for you to live authentically, and by loving yourself, you give other people the freedom to do the same.
Ooh, okay.
So
Okay.
together, they are intuitively creating a beautiful life.
Oh, okay.
You are here to create for the love of creating by doing what you enjoy. Your unique way of expressing yourself inspires the people around you. When you enjoy the present moment and honor your spontaneous instincts, everything you create and do is beautiful. You can trust your intuition, it is rarely wrong. You may find that you're good at thinking on your feet, so trust your impulses.
Okay. Which I'm trying to do. And that's difficult sometimes.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that's great.
that's so cool.
That
Okay.
is so cool.
Okay, so for me, mine, the only one, I only have one, is 44 and 26. Okay, so gate 44 by itself is the gate of alertness. You're naturally good at sensing other people's gifts and skills. I guess that's why I'm always was trying to give advice because I see potential in people. Your mind may not always understand what you're picking up on, but your instincts are drawing on past experiences stored at the cellular level. Even though you know exactly what people are good at, you may not have the willpower to actually manage their energy and bring out their gifts.
Okay.
So then, gate 26 by itself is the gate of the egoist. You have the ability to sell anything by seeing its potential and marketing it. If you are putting your energy towards something, you need to make sure you're rewarded for your ability and effort. Ideally, you can get to a place where you don't have to work at all by earning passive income. That's so interesting because I've always wanted passive income. You may not always be able to read the room or figure out who you should sell to. Collaborate with someone who can find you solid leads.
Ooh.
So the channel together is instinctual selling. When you meet someone, you naturally know how to talk to them, explain something, or sell an idea, literally or figuratively. You can always trust your instincts when you're communicating with someone. You are naturally attuned to what they want or need to hear. When you talk to someone, it's okay to have an end goal you're trying to achieve as long as you believe in what you're selling. You are good at recommending things to other people because you can quickly gauge what they need and like. You work more efficiently than most people, so finding a way to be paid passively or for working very few hours will benefit you. Working few hours and passively. You sold me.
Right. So knowing that, what do you do in your life now? Like what decisions do you make? Like what's the draw for you? Like knowing that information.
Well, even though because I've read this before, and for me, like I've never felt like I was good at selling anything. Like,
Mm.
because I've been in network marketing before and it flunked. I've done I think two or three network marketing companies. I've done affiliate marketing, and they never were they never went anywhere. And I think it's because subconsciously I did not enjoy it. Like,
Okay.
I was selling how to market basically, or selling like the very first one I was doing was like health pills. So
Okay.
I was like, yeah, okay, cool, let's try it out, but I never felt like I was good at selling it. And now, like, at the moment, I'm just doing what I like to do. I love talking about this kind of stuff. I love doing sound baths. I like my crystals, as you can see. Like, I love all that kind of stuff. So for now, I'm just doing what I love doing.
Yeah. Well, and I think you love the subject of human design, so it comes out as enthusiasm. And actually, you're the one that kind of got me more into it because I liked it, but it didn't seem like it was something that I was very interested in. But your enthusiasm and passion for it kind of bled into me, and it made me want to learn more. So I actually purchased a program because you had done it. So I
Oh,
think you inadvertently sold it without realizing you sold it.
yeah, I guess I did. And I'll just talk about what I loved, like whatever interests me. Because you don't know, as being a 132, like if something interests me, I will research it and I will research it. And then I guess I just talk about what I like. So, and what I find out. So I guess maybe that's how that channel will work for me. I don't know. We'll see. Only the
Yeah.
future will tell.
Right. Well, and it's fun to talk about that, knowing the information. Knowledge is power, right? So now
Yeah.
that the channels and the gifts that you have, you can narrow in on it and make your life a lot smoother because now you know that information, which is the neat part, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's always fun. It's always fun to deep dive into the things that, interest you, and especially when it's about yourself.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
a human design is all about you. Like,
Yeah. Right. Well, and it's also what you resonate with too. And again, like I said before, if it doesn't quite resonate now, it will eventually, I think, in my opinion, in my belief system, that's what has happened to me. So take it with, a grain of salt until you read it again, and maybe it might resonate later in a different part of your life. So that's the part that's also cool. You can
oh yes.
tailor it, yeah, anytime, any way you like, which is fun.
Yeah. Are there any other like gates or channels you want to know about on yours? So I can read them if you want to know.
So, funnily enough, your channel was the same as mine, my second one.
Oh, so there you go.
Right. And what's really interesting is that I am in sales. Like that's my job.
Well, there you
So
go. And you love your job, right?
I do.
Yeah, you
I
love marketing and selling.
feel
Whereas me, I feel the complete opposite. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't because when I think of marketing and sales, I think of like, I don't know, like a car salesman type of person. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Well, and really, for me, that resonated because what I thought was key in your description was believing in what you're selling. If you
Yeah.
believe in it, it's not selling anymore. It's really just your passions coming out and it's infecting other people. So,
You're just sharing
um,
what you love at that point.
right, exactly. And you don't have to read the room and zero in on a subject. You can just be yourself, and that's the cool part. And that's your gift, which is cool.
Yeah, I just need to learn how to, I guess, do it. I mean, I guess with this podcast, I'm doing it.
Mhm. Yeah, of course. And even I think you just did which you can announce this if you want to, but you just did a crystals
Oh,
kind of
yes.
deep dive. Yeah. And to be honest, reading that deep dive made me want to buy specific crystals. So
Hey, I'm not influencing you to buy crystals. I just want the information so like, if you already have a crystal and you don't know about it, and it's just like sitting, in your room somewhere, and you're like, oh, well, I have that. What is it for exactly? Maybe you bought it because it was just pretty, or maybe you bought it just
yeah,
because, you wanted to decorate your room or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I made that PDF basically just because I also wanted a beginner friendly crystals PDF because, like, I love crystals, but I don't know a whole bunch about them, right? So I
Hmm.
wanted something that would also help me too. So as I help
Hmm.
myself, I'm helping other people who are beginners in crystals, learn what the crystals do, what some affirmations are, what good pairings go together, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And knowing your human design, it also like it's no effort at all.
Yeah.
You found something that you're passionate about that you wanted more information about. You're waiting for an invitation for people.
Well, I think with that, I don't have to wait for the invitation because it's out there. You can literally
Right?
like it's on Instagram, it's on the website, like, and it's free. You don't have to put in your email or anything. You literally can go to the blog page, click get my PDF, and there it is, and you can print it out and have, to journal in or whatever you want to do with.
Yeah, which is amazing. And I think that's awesome that you put that out there, which, actually leads me to another point about being a projector and waiting for an invitation. You gave that that was an invitation to yourself. You asked yourself, I need more information on this particular subject. And that was the invitation for you to go and flow with your energetic gifts, right? So you don't you and that also allowed you to put something out into the universe that everyone who asks to have it is that invitation to you. So your flow is in that document for everyone to absorb whenever they want it. I think it's so cool. So you used your human design gift in multiple ways in
Yeah, and
that
I didn't
scenario,
even realize I was doing it. I was just
right?
doing it. Like I didn't have to think about it and be like, well, let me go to my page here and see how to do it, right? Like I just did it. Like that's because I wanted to do it and I wanted something for myself as well, like I said, and for other people that, want that information.
Right. I think it's also important to differentiate the difference between waiting for an invitation as a projector and making decisions in life. Because I don't necessarily resonate with the fact that you need an invitation for every aspect of your life.
Right.
But I do think that when you're blasting your gift, that is where the invitation comes in. But if you're wondering whether to move to Wisconsin or not, that's not really something, in my opinion, that has to be attached to an invitation. But what are your thoughts on that?
So I agree. So when I first read like I'm supposed to wait for an invitation, I was like, what the hell? Like I gotta sit around and twiddle my thumbs and wait?
Yes.
What? I'm gonna be waiting my whole life. And then when I read more into it and more into it, it's like not everything, right? Do what you love to do, but you're waiting for an invitation for like in my case, like the advice giving. Don't just go around telling people what you think would help them. Wait for them to, say something that will be an invitation. It could be like, let's go to the invitation actually, because that's in the book. Okay, waiting for the invitation. Okay, so it's saying like when someone else recognizes and acknowledges your value and shows interest in what you have to offer, it's the first step in being invited into their world. So even if people show an interest in whatever you're doing, that's also an invitation. It doesn't literally have to be, hey, you're invited, right? You're invited to
Yeah.
this party, right? It doesn't have to be worded exactly like that. Once you're invited to share your insights, you have the opportunity to do what you do best, guide and organize other people's energy. Um, Also, the invitation does not mean you have to accept. That's another important thing. So you don't always have to say yes to everything, because that is one thing I would say I would probably did in the past was I was always saying yes to things I did not really want to do.
Yes.
Like, you want
Yes.
to go out? Sure. And then there were
Hmm.
sometimes I was like, I'd say sure, and deep down I'm like, no, I'd rather not, but I'll go anyway,
Hmm.
or I'll do this, even though I don't feel like doing this right now.
Yes. That was actually quite an adjustment when I first read my design because I realized that I needed invitations. So I was taking every invitation and saying yes. because I was afraid that the invitation would no longer exist if I said no. But that's not always the case. So I do think that there's caution there, deciding when to expend your energy, what's important to you, and in alignment with you, and not, giving everything to everyone at all times and saying yes all the time. I agree with that.
Yeah. So you just want to make sure that you saying yes to something is something you actually really want to do and is in alignment with your energy at the time. Like if you feel like you need a nap or a rest day or a break or whatever, don't just say yes to anything and everything because that will burn you out for sure quickly.
Yes,
I've been
yes,
there.
right. And being a projector, knowing when your energy is done, when you've used everything that you have, and needing to refill your cup, you can't say yes to something, after you're spent. So knowing, being able to understand yourself and where you stand is
Yep.
helpful.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that too. Absolutely.
So what,
Um, yep.
oh, sorry, what for you has been examples of invitations? I was curious about that.
Oh, I was looking for it. Um, so maybe it wasn't in this book. It might have been in like somewhere I read online.
Or for you personally, like what have you seen that was an invitation as an example, um, that
hmm.
you've experienced as a projector? I have a few
I,
myself.
I was
If you
just
want.
gonna say probably just people like maybe interested in like what I'm doing now. Like
Mm.
that like my friend Sarah is very interested in everything I do. She even downloaded the Crystal PDF.
Oh,
Um,
neat.
yeah, because I told her what I was doing and she was like so excited. She was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see it." And I was like, "I'll let you know when it's done." So she downloaded it and she loved it. So I guess that is kind of the only invitation that I can think of at the moment. Um, maybe job wise as well. Like I
Mm.
so I was working at a place that I didn't really like that much, and I went to an interview for another place. And initially, I told them I wanted to be part-time. Okay, part-time.
Okay. Okay.
So they interviewed me and everything, and they sent me the offer letter that said full-time. And I said, no, 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 part-time. We discussed part-time. And they were like, oh, it's only if, in the future. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. So weeks later, maybe a month or two later, they come back, a different store. The same guy that interviewed me said a different store is looking for a part-time person. Are you interested? That is an invitation, right?
Right.
So I was like, let me think about I was like, I'll think about it. And I had to like pull in my intuition and be like, do I really want this anymore? Is it do I am I I had to weigh the options and like really listen to what I wanted. And in the end I said yes.
And how was the outcome for you though? Like after you said yes.
So the outcome is like I love the job itself. Everything is good, but now my problem is I'm still at the very first place. So I have two part-time jobs.
Okay. Okay.
I have two part-time jobs at the moment. And now I'm thinking because now there are days that I felt like I'm working full-time again and I'm like I'm feeling burnt out again. And I think I need
Mm,
to let the very first one go, and I'm thinking I may.
okay. But knowing your limits and knowing
Yes.
when your expended energy is out is
Yes.
kind of huge, though. I wonder if you would have known that before you had known human design. Would you have listened to?
I'd probably just stay at both because of
Mm,
the money, right? The money, I need the money, right? But when I'm
yeah.
looking at the money, I'm making more money at the second place versus the first place. So, and I was surviving on the first place. So
Okay.
I know I can survive on the second place because I do get more hours there as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right. Right. Logically, it makes sense.
logically, it makes sense.
which shows the universe is working itself in your favor by following the right path, right?
Yes,
That's cool. Yeah, I love that. That's super
because
neat.
yeah, because for me, like I want to do the woo woo full time, right? But
Hmm.
right now my energy is being spent at both my jobs. And then the one day now that I've given myself, I typically work 4 days, so like 3 days at the second place and one day or two, depending, at the first place. So I end up working
Okay.
like last week ended up working I think 6 days actually because I screwed myself. I only had like Friday off. And I was like, what in the world? Yeah, I messed up. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. I know for next time. But anyway, so now like knowing my that I'm allowed to rest, right? I'm a projector. I'm allowed to rest. That's how I'm built. I'm not built to go, 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 and then try and do the woo-woo on top of that, right? I need to let one go so I can make space for the woo-woo.
Okay. That's cool. I love that though. I love that it gives you that opportunity, which is so cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. What
That's
about
so,
you? Any invitations recently?
yeah. So I was trying to think of invitations. There's so many now that I'm paying attention. But one that really stands out to me, um, it's funny. Like, so I got into sound bath therapy as a side hobby and I loved it. And it was healing people, and I was just excited to offer all the healing modalities to the whole world. And I'm part of this. I'm part of this therapy group of a bunch of women. And I remember going one night, and I was like, I do sound therapy. If anybody wants to do it, I even brought a bowl with me. Like I was showing it off. I was giving out everything, and they did not like it. It was not appreciated. And
Uh-huh.
one woman was like, "It hurts my ears. Please put that away." And I felt so discouraged. And
Oh, wow.
right, so this shows when you don't get the invitation and you do push out your energy to something and it's not appreciated, there is a lot of frustration, bitterness that comes with that, right? So after, one of the ladies actually approached me and she said, your stuff is weird and woo woo, but I know a girl who is also just as weird and woo woo as you. Here's her phone number. Why don't you contact her and like get together with her?
Oh, there
And I
you go.
thought, okay, so there's an invitation, okay, that came out of something that I was trying to push out, but it wasn't received. So the universe is giving me the invitation. So I contact this other woo woo girl and she loves it. Okay. And we kind of become a partnership a little. And a few days later, she texted me and she was like, I gave your name to this therapy group that wants to promote sound baths. I gave your information to them. I get a phone call from this therapy group and they're like, we'd love to hire you for sound bath therapy to promote our business. And I said, okay. Then I get invited to go and I'm paid for this gig, right? I go to this therapy group, which is Insight Counseling. It's a great therapy group, by the way, just a little tiny plug. But after I'm doing a therapy session or I'm doing a sound bath with this group, another woman comes up to me and says, I have a women's retreat group that I would love to hire you for a sound bath for our women's retreat. And so invitation after invitation after invitation. And it showed me that actually gave me that like push that I need to pay attention more to my human design because at first, like my first initial, like I'm throwing this out there was not received very well. But that's because I was not given the invitation. And it's very clear to me now that I have to wait for an invitation because when I do, it just expands so much bigger. You attract the people that want to be like attracted to you. And it makes such a difference to people's lives when you are in alignment with human design. So to me, invitation is huge. It's difficult sometimes to like hold yourself back and wait for the invitation.
Yeah, it
I
is.
make those mistakes. Yeah. Like, so I throw myself out there and then I see what I'm getting and I'm like, I need to remember not to do that. So it's hard sometimes, but I will say that's been my experience with invitations. There's many more like that that I've encountered since I've researched human design. So it's fun.
Yeah, I could probably say I have more of the giving the invitation when I'm not supposed to rather than waiting for the invitation and expanding.
Right,
Probably have more examples of the opposite.
right. I know. It's hard.
Throw throw it all out, and then they're just like, yeah, no. Or they just like looking at you weird, like, what are you talking about? Like, or just like, go away, leave me alone.
Hmm. Yes. I actually had another experience where I was posting online, just freely, creatively, happily posting online about my sound bath therapy. And I had an old coworker that I hadn't talked to in several years message me, and he was like, I've been following you for years. And he's like, and I just never paid attention to your posts. I thought they were super weird. And he's like, but now I'm having an issue, and I would like your advice on something like health wise based on your sound
Ah,
bath therapy. So it shows, like, I think that even though, you can throw stuff out there and put your energy out there, it's really the invitation that makes a difference to people. And that's where your energy is supposed to be directed and flowing at. So I don't think you shouldn't like hold yourself back to attract those, but I do think that saving some of that energy and saying no and saying yes to the ones that really matter to me, in my opinion, is what makes the difference.
yeah. And I don't think you should like wait, like if you have like any social media, it doesn't matter what it is, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. Like if you're doing your own thing, that's kind of your space anyway, regardless. So I think you can push out what you want to push out because people will follow you or unfollow you, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really matter. But like if you're in person and you're pushing out your stuff, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where the bitterness will come in because then that's when people can be like, yeah, no, that's weird. Go away.
Yeah, 100%. That's the frustration too. Like it's not, and I think that's part of being a projector as well. Not having the invitation, it's 10 times worse, the frustration, in my opinion. Giving out your energy and seeing something that you can fix that needs to be fixed,
Yeah,
but it's not being received is so frustrating.
it
So
is.
it's fun knowing human design because that helps you rectify that, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think all the types kind of like work together. So like whereas like wait for the invitation, other people are like responding to something. I can't remember
Yes.
which one that was. So I think they all kind of work together, which is great because then everybody on the planet can just kind of work together.
Yes. And yeah, each one, when I was researching human design, each one has their unique gifts and abilities, which is so fun. So it's like every single person has gifts, and that's the fun part, is understanding friends and family too, and where where their gifts are as well, and how it matches yours, and that's pretty fun.
Yeah, and then when like if you can get their chart, right? And then you can compare your chart and be like, what do I
Mhm.
have and what do you not have that I feel and vice versa. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's always fun.
I agree. I agree.
So yeah, is there anything else you would like to add?
No,
I
I
think
would
we
just say
talked about mostly everything.
I know. I would say, I mean, I think we're focused more on our projector, you know, the archetype, but I do think that researching the other human design aspects are fun, even if it's not really you. It is neat to learn about the other ones. And then I would say also take it slow, because for me, when I first started human design, it was overwhelming. There's a lot of information. It is so much. So just taking it a little bite at a time when you're starting the journey of human design is my advice, because that's what kind of helped me. What about you, Marie?
Yeah, the same because it is a lot of information. Just like I said, when I first looked at the body graph, I was like, what am I looking at? I don't understand anything. But if you just start out with like your type. I would say your type because you will know what you are, projector, manifestor, reflector, whatever, right? Your strategy. Do you
Mhm.
wait for the invitation? Do you wait to respond? Or the other ones that I can't remember at the moment. Um, like your inner authority too. We didn't talk about that. But mine is tuning into intuition.
Mhm.
And then you're not self-theme, which for projectors is bitterness. So, like when you are out of alignment and you are just spilling out, how do you feel? Do you feel bitter? Do you feel angry? Typically, I do. Um,
Yes.
and then I think knowing your profile too is interesting. So, like you're one, like I'm the 1-3, you're the 2-4, and there's uh, 6 lines, I think. So there's multiple like one
Combination.
six, yeah, combinations. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Multiple combinations. So like learning that and seeing if any of that resonates for you. So for me, like definitely the 1-3 resonates with me because I love to research things, and then all my life I have just been a very big risk taker. I've always just jumped into things, and I learn by trial and error. It doesn't matter if someone gives me a book on steps 1 through 10. I have to do it myself and learn how to do it for me. Like what way works for me.
Cool. That's cool.
So yeah, that really resonated with me. So yeah, I think just learning your type, and then later, once you understand that, later go into like the gates and the channels, and then the incarnation cross, which I haven't even dove into mine yet. Um, but I'm so
What
interested to learn what that is.
what would that be in your human design? Is it just past lives, or what's
So the
the?
so the incarnation cross is going to be whatever your design up here, your numbers are. It's the
Mhm.
first let's see. I think it's the first the top two or something. Yes, the top two on your left and your right.
Okay.
And then you'll also understand later that one side is your conscious side and one side is your unconscious side.
Ooh, okay. That's
So,
fun.
yeah, so and or they call it personality or design. So like I think your conscious is your personality, and then your unconscious is your design part.
Oh, neat.
So it's
Okay.
like how, and I think some too, like it will be like how other people see you, right? I can't remember. It's so much information, but just start small. Don't get
Okay.
overwhelmed. Don't get overwhelmed.
But still, that's neat. That's neat to know.
It
It's
is.
fun.
It is
It
fun.
shows you can deep dive into this world, and it shows that's why sometimes it's nice to speak to an expert, because they can really help navigate the world for you and what's important and what's not, based on what you want to know. So that makes
Absolutely.
sense. Hmm.
Yes. Well, I think for our projectors, there's just some questions. Like if you are a projector and you know you're a projector, or if you look up your chart and later come back and find out you're a projector, here are some questions, just a few questions to ponder on. When do you feel most seen or valued? And what lifestyle feels most luxurious to you? And then the last one, where do you most enjoy lending perspective and expertise to others?
Ooh,
So that will help clarify like what success will mean for you because that is your in alignment self.
neat. Love it.
So, yep, I'll write those questions on the show notes. So like if you don't know you're a projector and later you come back and you find out you are and you want those questions, you don't have to listen to the whole podcast again. I'll just be in the show notes for you.
And we'll link, I'll give Marie the links to My Human Design, the free version online. Eric, Marie, or Aaron Claire
Aaron Claire
Jones's
Jones. Yep.
website. We'll link that as well.
just to
And
get you started. And I'll reference this book as well because this one's really good. I really
perfect.
enjoy this one.
Awesome.
Yes. All right. Well, you have any parting words?
No, just happy exploring. And I hope you enjoy what you learn about yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Well, until next time, guys, we will see you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you'd like the links to anything that was discussed, please check the show notes. Like and subscribe to the podcast if you got value, and follow me on Instagram for more woo.